The perfect courtier thrives in a world where everything revolves around power and political dexterity. He has mastered the art of indirection. He flatters, yields to superiors, and asserts power over others in the most indirect and graceful manner. Learn and apply the laws of courtiership, and there will be no limit to how far you can rise in the court. It is a fact of human nature that the structure of a court society forms itself around power. In the past, the court gathered around the ruler, and had many functions. A courtier would aspire to serve as an advisor to the king. But he had to win the king's favor to gain his ear. A courtier would have to navigate around the king's ego. And at the same time, around all the other courtiers who were scheming and plotting against him, in pursuit of the king's goodwill. Great courtiers throughout history have mastered the science of manipulating people. They make the king feel more kingly, they make everyone else fear their power. They are magicians of appearance, knowing that most things are judged by how they appear. Great courtiers are gracious and polite, their aggression is veiled and indirect. Masters of conversation, they never say more than is necessary, getting the most out of a compliment or hidden insult. People want to be around them, because they are magnets of pleasure, yet they never fawn nor humiliate themselves. Great courtiers become the king's favorite, enjoying all the benefits of that position. They often end up more powerful than the king himself, for they are wizards in the accumulation of influence. While the royal court may no longer exist, courts and courtiers will always remain. Every group has a leader, and a hierarchy of followers will form around any person in power. The laws that govern court politics are as timeless as the laws of power. So there is much to be learned from great courtiers, past and present. Courtiership is an art that can be learned and mastered. A delicate game that revolves around social skills. Here are the 15 timeless laws of court politics. Number 1. Avoid ostentation. It is never smart to show off, brag about yourself, or call too much attention to your actions. The more you talk about your deeds, the more suspicion you cause. When you flaunt your success, you're setting yourself up for ridicule, envy, betrayal, and backstabbing. It is a mistake to imagine that the master is the only one to determine your fate. Your equals and subordinates also help, or hinder, your success. A king's court is a vast stew of resentments, fears, and powerful envy. You have to deflect their envy and hostility towards someone else. To do this, you must always show yourself as humble and modest. Always talk less about yourself than about other people. Modesty is smart. Bragging is foolish. Number 2. Practice nonchalance. Never seem to be working too hard. Your talent must appear to flow naturally, with an ease that makes people take you for a genius, rather than a workaholic. Even when you are working hard, make it look effortless. Never brag about how hard you work. Keep your hard work hidden under wraps, and make people marvel at how gracefully you have achieved your accomplishments. Also, it is never good to seem to be trying too hard to please the master. It will appear like you are trying to hide a deficiency. Don't do extra work just to please the king. Fulfilling a task that has not been asked of you just makes people suspicious. So don't overstep your bounds. Do only what you are assigned to do, to the best of your abilities, and never do more. Number 3. Be frugal with flattery. It may seem your superiors cannot get enough flattery, but too much of a good thing loses its value. Sweet words are like honey, a little may refresh, but too many gluts the stomach. Too much flattery will also stir up suspicion among your peers. Learn to flatter indirectly. For example, downplay your own contribution to a successful project to make your king look better. Number 4. Arrange to be noticed. There is a paradox. You cannot display yourself too brazenly, yet you must also get yourself noticed. You stand no chance of rising in rank if the king does not notice you. This task requires much art. At first, it is a matter of literally being seen. Start by paying attention to your physical appearance, and find a way to create a subtly distinctive style and image. Keep it understated and subdued, but distinctive. Number 5. Alter your style and language according to the person you are dealing with. You must change your style and way of speaking to suit each person. Talking and acting the same way with everyone is a terrible mistake. Those below you in rank will take it as a form of condescension, while those above you will be offended. Never, ever, assume that your standard of behavior and judgment are universal. You must have the ability to adapt to whatever culture or social environment you find yourself in. Number 6. Never be the bearer of bad news. You must make sure the role as the bearer of bad news always falls on a colleague, and not on you. As the saying goes, the king kills the messenger who brings bad news. This is a cliché, but there is truth to it. Bring only good news, and your approach will gladden the king. Number 7. Never affect friendliness and intimacy with your master. He does not want a friend for a subordinate, he wants a subordinate. Never approach him in a presumptuous or easy manner, never act as if you are on the best of terms. This is his prerogative. If he chooses to deal with you on this level, then, assume a wary chumminess. Otherwise, err in the opposite direction, and make the distance between you clear. Number 8. Never criticize those above you directly. This may seem obvious, but there are often times when some sort of criticism or advice is necessary, and in your best interest to apply. When you have no option but to criticize, or give him advice, do it indirectly, and as politely as possible. You must find a way to disappear behind your warning, so the king sees the advice, and not the person who is criticizing. Think twice, or 3 times, before deciding you have made them sufficiently roundabout. Err on the side of subtlety and gentleness. Number 9. Be frugal in asking those above you for favors. Nothing irritates a master more than having to reject someone's request. It stirs up guilt and resentment. Ask for favors as rarely as possible, and know when to stop. It is always best to win your favors, so that the ruler bestows them without your having to ask. Most important is to never ask for favors on another person's behalf, least of all a friend's. Number 10. Never joke about appearances or taste. Being witty and having a good sense of humor are essential qualities for a good courtier. But avoid any joke about appearance or taste, two highly sensitive areas, especially for those in positions of power. Not even what seems to you a small and innocent joke. In particular, never joke about someone being overweight. The same is true with taste, never even slightly question the master's taste. Do not even try it when you are away from them, it will somehow find its way back to their ears. You will dig your own grave. Number 11. Do not be the court cynic. Express admiration for the good work of others. If you constantly criticize your equals or subordinates, some of the negativity will rub off on you, hovering over you like a gray cloud wherever you go. By expressing moderate admiration for other people's achievements, you paradoxically call attention to your own. The ability to express wonder and amazement, and seem like you mean it, is a rare and dying talent, but one that is greatly valued. Number 12. Be self-observant. Train your mind to see yourself as others see you. Are you trying too hard to please? Are you becoming an ass-kisser? Do you seem desperate for attention? Be observant about yourself, trying to see yourself as others see you, and in doing so you will avoid a mountain of stupid mistakes. Number 13. Master your emotions. It cannot be said too often, the foundation of power is the ability to control your emotions. As an actor in a great play, you must learn to cry and laugh on command, and when it is appropriate. You must be able both to disguise your anger and frustration, and to fake your contentment and agreement. You must be the master of your facial expression. Call it lying if you like, but to always be honest and upfront is social suicide. Number 14. Fit the spirit of the times. Wearing the fashion of 10 years ago is ludicrous, unless you enjoy the role of court jester. Your spirit and way of thinking must keep up with the times, even if the times offend your sensibilities. Don't be too forward-thinking, or no one will understand you. It's never a good idea to stand out too much in this area. You are best off at least being able to mimic the spirit of the times. Number 15. Be a source of pleasure. This is critical. It is an obvious law of human nature that we will flee what is unpleasant and distasteful, and are attracted to what is charming and promises delight. Be a source of pleasure and you will rise to the top. Since life is so full of unpleasantness and pleasure is so scarce, you will be as indispensable as food and drink. This may seem obvious, but what is obvious is often ignored or underappreciated. Like everything else, there are levels to this. Not everyone can play the role of favorite because not everyone is blessed with charm and wit. But we can all control our unpleasant qualities, and obscure them when necessary. Never imagine that skill and talent are all that matter. Don't spend so much time on your studies, that you begin to neglect your social skills. To a courtier, the greatest skill of all is the ability to make the king or master look more talented than those around him. Always give the master his due. If you serve more than one powerful person, you must give each one their due. But be careful to never stir up resentment in one, while pleasing another. Most of us have some gift, some talent, an ability to do something better than other people. A great way to be a source of pleasure to your master is to give him the gift of your talent. Let him take the credit if necessary, it will only be temporary. Use him as a stepping stone, as a showcase for your talent, which will eventually lead to the purchase of your freedom. A warning. Courtiers play with appearances. Only letting those around them see what they want them to see. With so much deception and manipulation afoot, it is essential to keep people from seeing your tricks. Courtiership is a subtle art, and overlooked traps and seemingly small mistakes can ruin your best tricks. Never risk being caught in your maneuvers. If that happens, you instantly pass in people's perceptions from a courtier of great manners to a loathsome scoundrel. It is a delicate game you play. So apply the utmost attention to covering your tracks, making sure your master can never expose you.